Welcome to Nightmares Podcast, a Midwest Horror Network program. Today I am with
Mark
and
Zack.
And
I love
today
you introed that like a PBS special.
I was going to say, we're a program now?
yes, we are.
But
Tonight on PBS News.
the brought to you by viewers like you.
Aww.
We kind of are.
Well, yeah. It's brought to you by viewers like us rather than the other way around.
I mean, I guess.
Hey Brandon, what do we watch today?
So today we're doing things a little differently. Instead of taking on like a whole genre or a specific topic, I showed Mark and Zack a horror movie that neither of them had ever seen before, and we're going to discuss it. Mark, what did I show you guys today?
The Howling, and I watched it further than the first 20 minutes.
Yeah, we did try to watch it about, a couple months ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was on a day where all three of us were just dead tired and we just couldn't do it, so we finally picked it up again today and finished it.
Yay!
Was it worth it, Mark?
Yes, it was. It was a very enjoyable film. I don't sound very convinced, but it's a slow burn at the beginning. But you know what? I think you said it the best after we're done watching. Like, it is way more of a mystery than it is a straight up horror werewolf movie. So, which I appreciate. I like mystery movies. But the effects were good. There was a there was a lot of crazy shit going on in the movie. I will tell you that though. The plenty of werewolf sex going on.
Zack, what did you think?
It was pretty boring.
Wow. So it sounds like we're gonna have a bit of a split between the two newbies here.
Certainly not by any means my favorite of the mystery horror movies. I enjoyed it for what it was. I thought it was enjoyable, but I certainly didn't love it, and I'm not going to. I probably won't rewatch it for quite some time, until I forget about it, and then I'll watch it again. I'm not going to rush out and watch it as soon as I possibly can, but I did enjoy it.
And I'll say the first time I saw it, I was probably closer to how Mark felt. Like, it's not a movie that I outright loved the first time I saw it. And then, like, I first saw it when I was in, like, maybe 8th grade, I think. And then while I was in towards the end of my college days, I was kind of thinking one day, I kind of want to rewatch The Howling. And so I rented it from back when Netflix still sent out DVDs.
Back in the day when Netflix sent out DVDs.
Back in my day, we went to Blockbuster or Hollywood Video.
And then Blockbuster made a half-ass attempt to compete with Netflix where you could order online.
Actually, the first time I watched The Howling, I did rent it from Blockbuster's mail-in service.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
When you can order it online and then have it delivered to your house, and then you can either send it back or deliver it to a Blockbuster and stick it right in the specialty slot that they made.
Oh, the specialty slot where you don't have to go in when they're open or closed. You just go, whoop.
Which I'm going to say, too, back in the day, if you were near a Blockbuster, I do think the Blockbuster mail-in was the better deal because you get 3 DVDs by mail, unlimited, pretty much, same thing as Netflix, but you also got 2 free in-store rentals a month. So if you had a Blockbuster nearby, that was a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
Blockbuster was great when they had their Game Pass. You could go rent any game instead of having to pay $60 a month just to get a new game. It's like, I think it was like $20 a month. You get unlimited games whenever you want. Just go switch them out. And it was fucking awesome.
I do remember that. And then Blockbuster slowly started to lose all of its prestige.
I still miss Blockbuster and Hollywood Video, especially Hollywood Video. Hollywood Video just had the look and movie selection, but Blockbuster just kind of had the better deals.
They did the better deals
towards the end.
Towards the end, yeah. They had they definitely had, at least in my eyes, the more variety. Although if you couldn't find whatever you're looking for at Blockbuster, chances are you go right down the street to Hollywood Video and find it.
Yeah, for a long time, me and my family would just go to Hollywood Video, and then I forgot what happened and why we stopped going to Hollywood Video. I think it was because this is when they were starting to close, and Blockbuster was all that was left. Mm-hmm. But this was still before like the Netflix time and shit like that. But either way, I still fucking love Hollywood Video. So many great memories.
And now we have Family Video. That is the only one left. And one Blockbuster.
I've never even seen a Family Video before.
And
That's a suburban thing, isn't it?
I guess it is. Like, it's actually not even a suburban thing. It's a country thing.
Yeah, we have one back in my hometown. So anyway, getting back to the conversation. So it's yeah. So I didn't love it the first time I saw it, and then when I was in college, I wanted to watch it again, and I liked it more that time. And then Shout Factory, under their Scream Factory label, a couple years later, released it as a collector's edition Blu-ray. I bought that because it was on sale, watched it again, and I've just progressively liked it more and more each time I've watched it. There's a lot more subtleties that I appreciate each time I see it. A little bit more of the humor comes out at me each time. So it is a movie that has... It never started as one of the greats in my mind, but it became one of the greats. So yeah, Mark, since you clearly liked it more than Zack, did you want to tell our audience what The Howling is about?
The Howling is about a really interesting thing. Starts out with a TV news reporter. The mom from E.T. Plays a TV anchor who is investigating some creepy guy that is calling her and stalking her. And she goes to a payphone to receive a call from him. For those people who remember, payphones were these little stations where phones were able to be used by the public.
Mark, people know what payphones is. That joke is so old by this point.
Yeah, I love how you said people know what payphones is. He knows what they is, Brandon.
Yeah, I'm country. Deal with it.
You're country?
They
country people.
And he likes it that way. But anyway, he calls her up, and then she ends up walking into a dirty magazine / video / peep show / just general dirty building where they show
Just
porn.
call it a porn shop, Mark.
See, kids back in the day, they didn't have the internet, so you had to go into a store to purchase porn. And then go watch porn in a creepy back room where they would screen different types of porn. Back when New York was a even bigger shithole, and Times Square was literally nothing but porn shops and titty bars. And so she walks in, and somehow, I don't know how this person, I guess it was Eddie, her stalker, ends up in the same room. I don't know where there was a back door or what happened. But she gets attacked by him. She kind of blacks out. Doesn't really know what happens. And then she goes ahead and tries to get back to her normal life after the attack, but she clearly cannot. So she is seeing a therapist. Her therapist makes a suggestion that she should go to a group retreat out in the middle of the woods somewhere. And then some crazy shit with werewolves happen. And spoiler alert, it's a cult of werewolves that are all out there. Everything is going on. They're all werewolves. And there's some werewolf sex. And there's
animated werewolf sex
and
for one shot.
Yep, that is correct.
Which looks terrible.
It did look really bad. It was very dated. Which
it's not as bad as the short animation in the 1989 Batman movie.
I didn't see that.
There is one overhead shot of Batman walking on a roof, and Batman himself is animated. And it looks terrible.
I do not remember that at all.
Okay.
But now I will look for it. It's a pretty crazy movie. A lot of werewolves, a lot of secret societies, and the two, like, the big positive notes I will say about this movie is I thought that the transformation effect was pretty good. I did enjoy it. I know we make fun of smoke machines a lot, but this movie actually used them effectively. It wasn't too overpowering. I think it had the right amount in there. I think my biggest criticism, though, is it's just a slow burn. It's a very slow burn, and I think I might.
Well, let me ask you this: you say slow burn like it's a negative. Is slow burn inherently a negative in your mind?
No, not necessarily. There's plenty of movies that have a slow burn. I think there were some parts when I'm like, man, you could have, we could have tightened this up a little bit more. And I didn't feel tension. And in a lot of places, I felt dead air.
Okay.
And that's like my biggest criticism of it. But again, my perception may change when I view it again a second time.
I'm trying to think of where you would have, like, where did you feel this? Because, like,
I can't particularly remember right where it was just an overarching feeling. I can't really pinpoint an actual time when I felt that there was dead air, but it seemed like there was. I don't know. It was a very odd thing. I was like, I feel like there could be some cuts here, but I'd actually have to go back and watch the movie even closer and be like, here's where it is, here it is. I don't know what the timestamps are at.
yeah, I mean, it'll just be interesting to see it when you do revisit it eventually, if you still feel that.
I may be
'Cause
wrong.
like I said, each time I've watched it, I've liked it more and more. Like, the first time I saw it, I was like, okay, that was okay. It had some good moments, but overall it was okay. But, like, now I think I don't know if I'd call it my favorite werewolf movie, but it's definitely up there. Like, it's, I don't know, it's up there with Late Phases and Ginger Snaps and Dog Soldiers for me as one of the best werewolf movies.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it for what it was. The honestly, like, besides a couple really good creature effects, the and and the very memorable werewolf sex. I won't really remember the characters, with the exception of the lead and then her two friends from the news and her husband. But everybody else kind of just blended in for me. I didn't really see.
Given what the movie's about, I don't think you're really supposed to see them as individuals, because it was like one of those self-help retreat type things, sort of like a cult mentality. So I don't feel like, other than the main character, like the main important characters, I don't feel like anybody else was supposed to really stand out as an individual.
I get you. You know something funny too, and this is gonna sound really stupid, but when we got to the end of where they showed all the cults, the cult members, and you figure out what's going on, I don't remember what happened to her husband. Was he there when they were in the barn, or did he get killed?
She did mention that she killed him, and then there's that one very brief flashback of him biting her as they were escaping in the car. Yeah. And I will say that's probably the thing that I think could be improved, is because he is the one that bit her. She does become a werewolf at the end, but that was one of the things that became more apparent to me on rewatches, because it is very just kind of brushed over. Like it's obvious they were trying to hide it, but then because they hit it so much, it's kind of just a rush, like one shot. That flashback was what, one shot?
There wasn't even a flashback. I mean, it just happened while they were trying to get away in the cop car.
Okay, I thought that was a flashback.
Yeah, that wasn't a flashback. That was in the cop car.
That was
okay.
They're escaping in the cop car, they're driving, and then somehow that asshole managed to sneak his big furry ass in the car, bite her, and
she
then
did mention that she had to kill her husband just in passing. So when it had her, so that really just goes double of the husband. And the husband biting her really could have been done better. Like, that is easily my biggest thing that I think could be improved. But other than that, I think it's a very good movie.
Yeah, I didn't even catch that. It was kind of like, it was almost like he was here one second and then gone the next.
Yeah.
I think that I'll remember very brief parts of this movie, but if somebody asked me in just general conversation, like, hey, you ever see The Howling? I was like, yeah, I saw it. I'm like, oh, what'd you think? I was like, it was pretty good. I don't think that I'll have a distinct emotion about it one way or the other. It's almost very neutral with a slight lean to good. That's my general consensus about it. I think I almost and I kind of became Zack for 2 seconds. When he actually was choking her, I kind of wanted to see some shit. I wanted to see her get legitimately eaten. I wanted to see that gore effect of her getting her neck ripped out. And I was like, I kind of want some, because to me it was almost like they really. I mean, you only saw the after effect of her body.
Has
but
Joe Dante ever really been a gory director?
I suppose not. Just considering the circumstances of what was going on, I didn't really even come into my mind of. It really didn't matter to me who was directing at that point.
Yeah, but I mean, it's when we're talking about gore, because like some directors do go more into gore than others, and Zach, you can chime in any moment that you want.
I just thought it would have been necessary.
Yeah,
in that
like
particular...
it wouldn't have felt out of place here, but it's Joe Dante has never. Now that I think about it, I don't think I think The Howling, even though this one does still have its humor to it, this is probably his most horror-centric movie he's done.
Here's the thing. It's like you have these graphic transformations, these really cool creature effects, and you do nothing with it. Like what it literally looks like is he puts his mouth on this girl and then she's dead. He doesn't bite her. You could even say that it looks like he lays his head right next to her and that's it. Like it looks ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Zack.
It's super disappointing. You do nothing with these cool creatures. Like the coolest thing that I saw in the movie, other than the transformations, was the arm getting cut off. But other than that,
that was a good scene.
It's like everything just feels so bland.
And you know what? And I think that's where my problem came in. And then I think that's why my slow burn comment is even more apparent. Because to me, the payoff isn't good enough for my investment of what I've been watching. Like like there is some tension going on, and I do agree that there is some decent tension going on. But it is the slow burn. I'm fine with a slow burn, but eventually you got to pay me for my patience. And it feels like when we got to the scenes where it should have been a payoff, and that chick should have been ripped apart, considering how powerful that werewolf was, it should have been something bigger. I kind of wanted something bigger, something more. I don't know, and maybe not necessarily even graphic, but like just something more than just like it felt like.
Tear her arm off. Do something. Rip her. Bite her head off. There's so much you can do.
Yes.
There.
It felt like the original monster movies back in the 30s, like where there wasn't like you could only show so much back then.
Yeah.
Like, but we're talking about the 1980s when it was there was plenty of shit that was going on that was no holds bar, and I figure and it should have been more of a thing. Again, going back to what Zack said, I don't know what that thing was, but I would have took it. I kind of wanted to see. I would have been fine with her being thrown out the window, versus what we actually got. I would have been fine with that more than I would have been.
Would have been a little bit more violent, but I mean, what we got was just super disappointing. Disappointing. I'm sorry.
I mean, and never in a werewolf movie would I anticipate that you would mostly kill a person by choking them out. And yeah, he did eventually bite her, but for the most part, he was choking her out. So it was just one of those things that I was like, okay, well, and honestly, man, the one thing I will say is, and even the more I'm thinking about it, I didn't really see Joe Dante's sense of humor. I may see it on the second time around, but I saw way more of his sensibility in that last 5 minutes.
Yeah,
when everybody's doing the commentary on it, like I'm like, oh, there's Joe. I'm so glad he decided to show up.
Werewolf news lady just turned into a werewolf.
Yeah.
It's which is interesting because like the whole self-help retreat thing, I that was way before our time, I think.
Oh,
so it's very possible that a lot of the humor just is lost on us because it's of something that's just not of any part of our generation.
Not even the generation before then either. Yeah. I mean, what's so funny though is and that's the weird part because like the 70s were big like swingers groups and stuff like that, but I never heard about any like self-help groups in the I mean, therapy was becoming more popular in the 80s, but
I mean, I've heard of self-help groups before, but I'm not expecting anything magnificent or something that we wouldn't know about. I mean, there's self-help groups today. There's been self-help groups for a long time. So maybe you're right, but I'm not going to put my chips in that bin because it's like...
And is in the regard of humor in them, it's it doesn't really count as humor when our jokes are funnier than what's being said on the screen.
Yeah.
Like when he got back.
Here's the thing: it also doesn't even feel like a self-help thing. It feels just like a normal community of just people.
Yeah, there was no like.
I didn't see any addicts or anything in there, or people who needed to like recover from maybe past trauma or something like that. It just looked like normal people just hanging out. It doesn't look like self-help.
Having a hootenanny.
Hold down.
Hootenanny.
Hold down.
Hootenanny. The you know, and that was the other thing too, is that like some of the humor, like it seemed like it never wanted to take a direction. It wanted to just hit a bunch of different bases, and it wanted to hit a baseline, and it just never went in any like committed 100% to any particular direction.
Yeah,
like I would have loved it for it to been like if you're gonna be hypersexualized, then be hypersexualized even more. You know, keep going. You know, if you want to be violent, keep going violent. If you want to be there, like you gotta finish the marathon. And it feels like a lot of those things were like a non-completion of a marathon.
Yeah, and looking at where The Howling fits into Joe Dante's filmography, because let's see, his first movie is The Movie Orgy, which that's a documentary.
All right.
And then he did Hollywood Boulevard, which I believe he co-directed. Yeah, he co-directed that, but that's a movie that was pretty much put together with unused footage from other Roger Corman movies.
Okay.
So there was very little actually on-set directing, if any. So his first actual movie that he directed was Piranha, which was three years prior to this, and that's, you know, one of the Roger Corman movies. So, and of course we know Roger Corman movies have a very distinct feel. Then he was an uncredited director on Rock and Roll High School, which was another Corman movie. I don't know what the story behind his uncreditedness there is. But so The Howling was actually his first like actual movie outside of the Corman world.
Interesting.
So it's when you take that in consideration, and with your comments, I would say this is definitely Joe Dante trying to find his own voice.
Fair enough.
After that, he did 2 episodes of Police Squad. Yes, the Naked Guns Police Squad. That was a short-lived TV series.
Oh, God.
And then Spielberg saw The Howling, and that's what had Spielberg bring Joe Dante on as one of the directors for the Twilight Zone movie, and then Gremlins.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
So that's Dante's early filmography right there.
Yeah, rock and roll. I mean, again, like, you know, the creature effects were great, like, and it was a great, I suppose it's a very great starting point for what he was doing. But I mean, you know, there wasn't just lack of commitment in a lot of different areas. And again, you're probably right. It's probably him finding his voice and finding out where he exists as a director. And you know, and his next, you know, big film that was after this, that he was pretty much doing it by himself was Gremlins, and I'm a huge Gremlins fan. I think that movie's fantastic. But it is, you know, that story though is very almost very focused. Like it knows exactly what it is. It's this happens, this happens, this happens, this happens, that happens. And then the movie's over. Like there's a lot of very, very specific through line of Gremlins. I don't want to say it's as straightforward as Jaws is, but I can see that those blueprints.
I would say this movie is very predictable, especially once you get to the whole self-help, like, hootenanny.
Hoedown. Hootenanny. Hoedown.
They do start off with the nightly howling hootenanny.
Yeah, like the moment that nympho chick comes in, gives that fucking one dude, her husband, the fuck me eyes, I'm like, I know where this is going. Lo and behold, we got there just with a very shitty animated sex scene.
Dude,
I'm looking for my wife. Why?
I'm gonna take what I assume is a fucking blood-filled punch bowl and just leave now.
There's a lot of really interesting shit going on.
It's just, the movie became uber predictable and just, I didn't care about anybody. Like, the most interesting characters in this film are the 2 investigators, and they barely get any screen time.
Yeah, and then there's also that subplot that like, and I dig what's going on like in the occult shop and and all that
Yeah.
stuff.
Dick Miller was great.
Of course, but he always is.
The parts with Dick Miller were great. Like I said, the two investigators, I actually enjoyed those characters. Everyone else, I'm like, I don't give a fuck. And then you have this one guy, Eddie, who's supposed to be like your lead antagonist or whatever. He's there, dead. He's there again, dead. Oh, cool. What a waste.
There really wasn't like much in that regard, and then like I think it was a little convoluted about why he was obsessed with her.
They never really explain it.
I mean,
It's like you're different. How? Because you're different. How? Because
reasons, because the movie needs to happen, as Brandon would say. The more I think about it, the more I'm going towards with a little bit of twist of good. I mean, you had a lot of really good special effects. You had some interesting things going on, but it just never seemed to. It was like watching an airplane that just never leaves the runway. Like it kind of does bouncing.
I wouldn't even say it bounced. It's just, all right, we're going to our destination, people. We'll see you when we land.
Yeah,
that's it.
And it's over.
We hit a little turbulence here. Cough, cough, werewolf design, cough, cough. Oh, well, that's it. Well, we're landing now. But there's no more? Nope. But you had a cool werewolf design. Yeah, I know. All right, well, see you later, everyone. The sequel will be better, I promise.
You know what the funny thing is, too, is that, I didn't, I like to care when people are in danger. Mm-hmm. Even though I liked the reporter girl, who I don't even remember her character's name, I liked what they were up to, but kind of really didn't care. Like, I went back to like watching a very shitty horror movie where I'm like, I just want to see you die. The
lead character spends 90% of the movie crying.
Well, there's that, and she also has nightmares and everything else. But I mean, and again, there was no commitment to almost any genre. Like it's just kind of just hit a baseline and kind of dabbled in different things, but never really quite like, is it a mystery? Is it a horror? Is it a this? Is it a that?
If it's a mystery, it's a pretty easy solvable one.
I mean, I'm not as hard on it as you are, but yeah, I mean, for the most part, it's kind of I think Joe Dante has a lot better movies. A lot more to offer later on down the road. But as in his first directorial debut by himself, it's pretty good. I mean, considering you're still trying to find your identity outside of other people, it's a pretty good way to start it.
Yeah.
And that means somebody, if it led into somebody seeing potential in you, then hey, more power to you. I can definitely appreciate that. So you've heard us gibber and jabber about it. What are you thinking?
And I'm still a little mind blown that I went years thinking that one shot was a quick flashback. So I'm kind of going
still
through,
on that.
I'm kind of going through a little
I like how I've just
crisis
destroyed
though.
Brandon's perception of the movie to a high degree. It's like, wait, that wasn't. Oh my god, how the fuck did I miss that?
I love it how when you can, back in the 80s, when you can leave a pawn shop and then say, bill me for
I just like how he walked out with bullets. It's just like,
silver bullets.
man, you can't do that today. Just shit.
Dude, don't you need to sign something?
It was the 80s.
But yeah, I mean, other than that massive revelation that Zack dropped on me.
Just like, really? Y'all thought that was a flashback? How the fuck did y'all think that was a flashback?
I didn't.
That's my question.
Let's move past this.
Brendan's like, I'm good, man. I don't need to think about this anymore.
And like I said, each time I see it, my appreciation for it does grow. I do feel a little more tension each time. I don't know. Like it's one of those rare movies where because I know what's happening, I feel more tension.
Okay.
And I don't know. I can't explain that.
That's a really interesting thing.
You could tell the difference in personality here, ladies and gentlemen.
I never even remotely heard of of that, but I mean, I'm sure it's possible.
Yeah.
I'll let you know when I see it
I
next
really
time.
like the werewolf designs. I really like the transformation.
I do too.
Joe Dante's commentary for the movie is interesting because he does talk about there are certain close-ups and certain shots in the transformation that, like, one of the devices just wasn't working on set. But then the sound effects people they would turn that mishap into a bone cracking or something like that. So he said that was the case of the sound effects team in post-production really saving a sequence that he hoped would be really cool.
Yeah, Brandon, aren't sound effects great and sound design?
We're not going to get into that conversation. I know why you're bringing it up, and we're not bringing that into our podcast.
That's fair enough. I do agree.
But yes, I agree.
I agree with you, though, that the transformation was pretty cool. I did enjoy what was going on there, and it was... there wasn't a lot of cuts, which I appreciate. Like, you saw the transformation, and you saw what was going on. Which I always appreciate when people do that. They're not hiding things in cuts. You are legitimately watching that transformation, and you watch it quite a few times actually.
I have one gripe with the transformation. It's a cool transformation, but holy fuck, is it long? The entire time this dude's transforming, I'm sitting here thinking to myself, girl, why the fuck aren't you booking it while this transformation is taking like a good 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Like, I'd be fucking 6 ways from Sunday. Fuck this! Pew!
You're not the only person to think that. I also thought that as well. And several specific scenes where people were watching these transformations take place. I'm like, you can leave anytime.
Yeah, I mean the path to the door is right there,
dude,
and he's clearly incapacitated during this what looks to be pretty fucking painful transformation.
It's like that joke.
He's literally steaming.
It's like that joke when they show the cat. That like all the colors are flashing at it. It's like this is what the bad guys sees when the Power Rangers are going through their transformation. And like these monsters just chill and wait for them to go through their transformation.
Just like, all right, they got to do the individual transformations.
Just let them do their thing.
Red Ranger turbo power.
Just let them do their thing. Just let them do their thing.
Well, I agree with you guys. There's also that's never been an issue for me since I was a teenager movies, and I'll tell you why.
It's just this one specifically because it really is long.
It is long. But it's one of those things where I took a film class when I was in high school, and the teacher for it was talking about The Aviator, specifically the plane crash sequence in The Aviator.
Right.
And he was talking about how it's like a 5-minute long sequence in the movie. But when you really think about how fast he was going and everything, in real life, it would have been like a 4-second crash. So that's the thing about editing is you can really expand time in a certain way to really hone in on certain details, specifics. So whenever something like that we're talking about, how something's taking a real long time, why doesn't the person just run out? Ever since that class, just my brain always just goes, this is the editor just expanding time. In real life, if we were that character, it's probably a much shorter amount of time to them than it is to us seeing what the editor and the director wants us to see.
I agree to that. Although my counter in this particular example would be is there's a difference between something actually being 5 minutes and something feeling like it's taking 5 minutes.
Okay.
If we were to take those two scenes in together, like take this transformation and then take that scene from the Aviator. The Aviator does not it does not feel like 5 minutes, and it's a white knuckle 5 minutes where you see all kinds of crazy shit happening. Like there's the plane's going through through houses, and he's getting completely fucked up in that. And in the cockpit, and it's a very intense scene, and you're completely drawn in, and that 5 minutes feels like that. With this, it felt like 5 minutes. It's.
But I'm not talking about if it feels like 5 minutes to us. I'm talking about does it feel like 5 minutes to the character witnessing it?
Oh no,
that's what I'm talking.
No, and I agree. I just think that's I think that's my argument though about the character. Like, if the scene wasn't enthralling enough, I wouldn't think that. I wouldn't think about why isn't the character running away. I would be enthralled with what's going on, and that thought wouldn't even pop into my head until later when when you're thinking, oh, that's a silly thing. Why didn't they do that? Or when we're watching, good bad flicks, and and they bring that up, or everything that's wrong with this movie, they bring that up. But I wouldn't be thinking about that, if the scene was more enthralling and it didn't feel like it was a long time. I get what you're saying. I totally get what you're saying. Yeah.
So that's how you feel about this scene in particular.
Correct.
But in the reality that's taking place within the scene, I'm posing the question of, was it 5 minutes to her?
Probably not.
That's the question.
It is just
I'm
because
trying to
some of those
pose.
extensions looked like they were taking forever to happen.
Like
Like his jaw coming out alone looked like it took a good 30 seconds to a minute. That's enough time to be like, see ya.
And again, I think I go back to what I was saying, and this is why Zack has his perspective. If it was a more enthralling 5-minute transformation, then I think he wouldn't even think that.
Or, transform in front of the door so she can't escape.
Well, then there's that too. That might be a little bit more of a logical standpoint.
Yeah, the only other way you're getting out is if you pull a Wes and then just salmon fish jump out the fucking window.
I will tell you this though. She threw that acid the most girly way you could possibly throw acid. I've never seen it. It was like, like I'm surprised it wasn't it literally looked like that kid that you made fun of in gym class when he threw a base. Remember the opening scene of Sandlot when he throws the baseball for the first time?
Yeah.
Like that. She threw the acid that way, and I'm like, oh, that's very, very feminine. But yeah, I mean, overall,
and I still like the transformation.
I do.
I really like the arm transformation that happened earlier.
See, that was more enthralling to me.
That was really cool.
That didn't feel like 5. I was like, oh shit, this is some stuff going on here. I was way more invested in what was going on, and that small little area, the whole scene where she's investigating, and then the werewolf attacks her in the cabin, and there's some stuff going on. I didn't really care as much. It didn't get down to something enthralling when she was actually in that little area down there, and the werewolf went through, and then she chopped his hand off, and then the transformation. Then I was enthralled and involved in what's going on with the scene, and the whole transformation with the hand was actually pretty fucking cool. I will agree, and I was way more invested in that time. I don't know why. Maybe it's because she was fighting back. I don't know. I have no particular reason why that one interests me more than other ones, but it was fucking cool.
It was all right.
I think Zack has pretty much closed the chapter on the Howling. I'll probably watch it again, but I certainly will not watch. I will not.
You'll let some time pass by?
I will let some time pass by, and trust me, though, it will be one of those situations where I'm like, I won't cancel plans to go see this. If it's on, if I happen to be flipping through cable, or if it shows up on Netflix one time, and I'm like, oh, I have nothing else to watch.
Or maybe if Joe Dante shows up at a screening.
That's because it's Joe Dante. I wouldn't give a shit what movie it was.
It could be Small Soldiers.
Now, you see, that's a movie I would go see.
God, man, that's fucking movie.
That is a damn good movie.
That's a ridiculous movie. I miss Phil Hartman.
But yeah, there's also 1,000
Hartman.
sequels to this movie. I've only seen the second one all the way through, and the second one is bad.
The second one, just by these pictures, looks like it has a little bit more blood. Okay.
I'm looking at your face. There are 10 different screenshots I can
Holy
think of.
shit,
that
it's
you're looking
Christopher
at.
Lee. Already, it must be a better movie.
Actually, when Christopher Lee showed up on the set of Gremlins 2, the first thing he did was apologize to Joe Dante for being in The Howling 2.
That's fantastic.
To give you an idea of how he felt about that movie.
3.6. Well, I'm not gonna lie. I get the feeling this is probably a much better movie than the first one, simply because Christopher Lee is in it, and it's probably so bad it's hilarious.
And then the third one, I had to give up on watching that one. Like, I tried and I just couldn't do it.
Wow.
I didn't go beyond it.
Well, I don't even see the third one on IMDb right now, so that already says a lot.
I remember hearing, like, it was either the fourth one or the fifth one. I think it was the fifth one.
Jesus Christ, there's 5 of these fucking movies?
There's more than that.
How?
But yeah, I think the fifth one is said to be more faithful to the book that it was based on.
Oh, good, it was based off a book.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, and then there was, I don't know if it was another sequel or if it was a remake or it was just a flat-out reboot that had nothing to do with the actual plot, but there was also The Howling Reborn in 2011.
I see that.
And supposedly there's another remake in
2017.
Yep.
The Howling.
But is that this Howling? There are a few movies called The Howling.
Then I...
So is that related to our Howling, or is it just...
I'm just looking on IMDb. Let's see. Wait. Oh, look at that. Halloween 4, The Freaks.
Okay, so I think it was the fifth one that was...
Halloween 5, Rebirth.
Yeah, that's the one that's said to be more faithful to the book.
And
then there's supposedly another remake coming that's in development from the director of the 2 It movies and Mama.
Huh?
So we'll see how that is, which I don't know if you can do this plot in modern day.
I think you can.
You'd have to update it.
Yeah, like
there's some things you would absolutely have to update. Like the porn shop is probably going to be but I mean, the payphone scene as well. You can't have the payphone scene.
Well, dude, I mean, there's plenty of ways that you can, you can definitely bring this into the modern age. I mean,
But I mean, that self-help camp thing. I know there's shit like that these days as well, so you can easily have that like setting and theme. And
at the end, when people don't believe they saw a werewolf on the news, they'll just be like, "Oh yeah, that's fake news."
You just put it on CNN. There you go.
Yeah, oh my god, dude! I'm looking at this picture though. Chris Lee looks like he does a lot of drugs, or his character does a lot of drugs with these fucking white sunglasses that he's wearing.
What the fuck happened to the costume? Holy shit,
dude! And I have a feeling this is way more like sexualized.
This looks not only more sexualized, just way over those sunglasses.
Dude, I know, right? Like
you aren't kidding.
I'm like, holy shit, man.
This looks like a more entertaining movie for all the wrong reasons.
It really isn't.
Dude, dude, Christopher Lee looks like an aged rocker that's heading to a parent-teacher conference.
Dude, he looks like he's about to be. It looks like it's about to be Weekend at Bernie's.
Yeah, it might be
That's
that
exactly
too.
what that looks like.
Yeah, a little bit of that too. Be like, I am, like this is the guy during a parent-teacher conference that would lean over to a teacher and be like, listen, like I am so fucked up right now. Can we hurry this the fuck up? Like I gotta sleep. I've been literally up for like 48 hours. I'm sorry, no, I've been up for a week on blow. And I need to go to sleep. All right, like you can just tell me. You can just tell me my kid's an idiot. Like I already know. It's all good. Like he's not gonna go anywhere. Yeah, let's wrap this up. By the way, are you single? You
doing anything later tonight?
You doing anything later tonight after my coma? Let me call you later. Anyway.
I also really like the beginning of this movie. I think it's a good tone establisher, like her with the stalker and going into the porn shop. Like it's just, you wouldn't get that kind of build up in a movie today. Like if it were to be made today, it'd be like, that would probably be like a 1-minute scene and they'd be already off to the retreat within 5 minutes of the movie. I like that they took the time to actually establish things about the character before just getting, like, it's not just it's a werewolf movie, just cram werewolves in from beginning to end.
More wolves now.
I can appreciate that, that's
sure. I mean, the beginning isn't like the movie starts off pretty good. I'm not going to say it starts off super strong, but the movie does start off well. It's just once you get to that self-help thing, it's like, oh, okay, so this is where we're going.
And again, I'm gonna go with Zack on this too. Like it didn't seem like anybody that was there needed to be there. They none of them seemed to have any kind of like real serious problems in order for them to be in a group therapy retreat.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why
they were actually werewolves.
I know, but
I'm just saying, if you're gonna put on that facade, at least go with the fucking lie.
Try something. And also too, you also need to do it for the audience benefit as well, because if you're trying to preserve a element of mystery, you need to have some kind of legitimacy to this whole idea of a self-help weekend retreat. So,
And you have this girl dressed up in these dark ritual garbs, and you don't expect me to ask questions? It's like, oh yeah, she's absolutely the leader of the pack or something. Just she's serving a Red Bull. It's like, that's blood, isn't it? That has to be blood. I don't even see the guy take a drink. He may take a drink, but it's just like...
the fucking lead singer of Vixen over there. The
whole, Dad, that's blood. Correction. Free blood.
well, that's pretty accurate.
I like it.
It was, again, like I would have liked a little bit. Again, this goes back to what I was saying, which was it doesn't seem to have committed to any direction one way or the other. Add more mystery if it's going to be a mystery. Add more horror if it's going to be a horror. Add more crazy sex scenes if it's going to be a sexualized.
Add more blood and tits. Come on, everybody loves blood and tits.
I think that's just you, Zack. But
You know you love it.
First one, yes. Second one, depends on the day. So I really wanted to say it that way just to fuck with his head. But anyway, I wish I would have committed a little bit more to certain areas. But again, I may have the same experience that you had, Brandon, which is the next time I give it another try, I may think about it differently.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's. Yeah.
It could be that thing that now that you know where it's actually heading to for the end, you start to pick up more things. And
yeah, I did like it though that they were similar designs. If memory serves correctly, like the werewolves in Cabin in the Woods were very similar to the werewolves in this. Vice versa, obviously. I think that the ones in Cabin in the Woods that they designed were closer to in the Howling than the other ones in any other movie, which I did appreciate that. So, but besides that, yeah, that's my general consensus is somewhere between good to depending on what scene I'm watching.
It's not a bad movie, but it's not a good or great movie either.
Brendan, why, like, you hear us kind of giving our opinion. Why do you like it though? I think that would be probably a better.
Well, I've been trying to tell why, but then we keep getting to these other side.
Sorry about Christopher Lee doing drugs on a set of Howling 2. So go ahead, buddy. I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, like I said, I do see a little bit more of the humor, and that ending really does get funnier to me each time I see it. So I really do like the ending. I do like the mysterious atmosphere of it. I really like the beginning tone that it creates. I love the werewolf designs. I really like Dee Wallace in the role. I think she's really good in the movie. Standing around waiting to throw acid, barring that.
That was just... And she's lucky she grabbed the acid too, because she wasn't looking. She was just looking for something. And she just kind of took the first thing her hand found, just whoosh. Like, you are super lucky right there, because there was a green bottle behind you. What was the green bottle?
Zack,
life juice?
Zack, the plot needs to happen, all right? It happened because the script said so.
Just saying, there's a door and a big werewolf. You put the werewolf in front of the door, you ain't getting through the door.
And I really do like the retreat camp setting. I really like the interesting tone that brings up. This is way more of a tone piece from Joe Dante, I think, than his other movies. Like Gremlins is just pure story. Piranha's campy, Corman fun. Gremlins 2 is... It's live action Looney Tunes.
It is.
In the best way possible.
Oh,
and then
fantastic.
Matinee, which is easily his most personal movie. So it's...
Which movie?
Matinee.
Oh, that was him?
Yeah.
God, I love that movie.
And then there's Splatter.
We don't talk about Splatter. But,
Splatter is his best picture, don't deny it.
But yeah, so I'm looking at my 5 favorite movies of Joe Dante. Each of them does have something different to offer than the others. And what Howling has to offer is just that mysterious atmosphere.
Okay. I can get it.
And Rob Bottin special effects makeup.
Fair enough.
Which I think is the year after that, after Howling, he did The Thing.
I can see it. I can definitely see it. I will tell you this though, like again, going back to just considering how many Goosebumps episodes we've watched, I like what they do with the fog machine.
Yeah, the fog machines
way better.
actually look like they belong in the scene.
Yes.
As opposed to you literally seeing where the fog is pouring out from.
Dude, you know that's true, bro.
I don't care. It's hilarious.
Like we put the dry ice here.
We put the camera here.
You see, the fog needs to come out of the roof.
Is
that how fog works? Who cares? We're Goosebumps.
He's not wrong.
Dude, we're fucking Canadian kids television. What the fuck do you expect, man?
I don't think the team behind Goosebumps could have ever thought that the internet would take off the way it did, and that there would be a-holes like us dissecting and tearing up every aspect of their episode.
I really hope that a lot of these people hear us at some point.
They were probably just like, oh, it's Canadian kids television. Nobody's going to remember this in 20 years.
30 years later.
They never thought Netflix would come to pass. You can just imagine some union guy talking to some Canadian director like, you want me to put dry ice where? Right up on top of, I don't know, I don't think that's really cold.
But no, as much as we do make fun of that, I really would jump at the chance to have a serious interview with one of the directors or main writers of the TV series, just to see like what went into their decisions.
That would be fun, specifically the camp episode.
Yeah, because
yes,
it is low budget Canadian kids TV, but in all honesty, what kind of decision making needs to be made?
I would love to interview the guy who did the Headless Ghost episode, who was the cinematographer and the director.
Oh, that one.
I would love to have a conversation with him about his experience.
I would like to do the episode with the clock that changes time, just because I really want to ask him about the, hey kid, got the time. God, it's just, man.
Wow. Kids, that's where the Stranger Danger campaign came from. It was built off of that episode.
And literally, of course, they didn't have After Effects back then either. So some of those post-production effects, I don't know how they did that back then. Zach, you're the VFX guy here.
I would have to look at it and dissect it. Like I could probably tell you how I would do it today, but I can't tell you how
did they do it back then.
Yeah,
sitting there with Windows 95 or 96, just
I believe most of these people had their own custom programs that were built in studio. That's how they did it.
Yeah.
Like I know that's how Peter Jackson did the effects for the Frighteners.
Frighteners, yeah.
Yeah, because I wanted to replicate that effect, and I tried finding how to do it, and I ended up walking into a documentary on how he built this program specifically for that effect. I'm like,
yeah. And
cool.
Actually, his effects house started with one computer, and that was for his movie before the Frighteners, which is called Heavenly Creatures. Which was actually nominated for a writing Oscar for that one. And then his next movie after that was The Frighteners, and I think he had to expand from that one computer to like 20 or 40 or something. Like it was not a minor expansion he had to do.
Oh no, not at all.
The Frighteners.
Same thing with fucking Star Wars, the first one. When they had a giant warehouse and they had to build all those custom processors. By hand. I remember the one guy was the one effects guy. He did like the gopher effects. He did like a bunch of different effects for different movies. I always forget his name. I feel awful, but he's like, yeah, back in the day, like before we built all the computers, like you could park your car in the warehouse. I mean, eventually it got full to the point where you couldn't fit anything else in there, but they were building the processors one at a time. That's why everything was so behind. Because they had to build all the shit first before they can do any effects whatsoever.
OG special effects were the best.
Yeah. But I mean, there are things I think could be improved in a remake, but it is the question of will they, or will they just make another bland horror remake? Because like the kind of trauma she's going through in this movie. That is a subject matter that is taken way more seriously today
than it was back then.
Yeah. So that is something that could be expanded upon in a remake. But again, it's a matter of, do they want to?
Well, that's certainly, a thing. I mean, yeah, when you have more social media and more, access to people, a lot of news reporters are becoming celebrities unto themselves. So, I mean, yeah, celebrities attract stalkers. So it certainly can happen. And, maybe one of those stalkers is part of a werewolf cult. I don't know.
Or who knows? Maybe they'll do a remake, but they'll put it in the 80s.
That could be
It's always an option.
Yeah, that is always an option.
That is an interesting way to
Or
talk
make
about
it closer to the book.
I don't know.
That too.
I don't know.
What year did the book take place?
The book came out only a couple years before the movie.
So late
I never
70s?
read it, but I have heard that the movie isn't the most faithful adaptation. But without reading the book myself, I can't really say so.
Then, yeah, make it more faithful to the book. Put it in the late 70s.
4 years before the movie.
4 years? So, yeah, late 70s.
It's certainly an idea. Certainly see where it can go from there. But yeah, that's I think that's my general consensus on The Howling.
Would you recommend it?
No.
I definitely gonna put this in the Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon category. Like if you're just kind of chilling at the house and you're like you got nothing to watch, yeah, definitely throw this on. I think it's definitely worth that Sunday morning watch. But yeah, I definitely wouldn't cancel plans to go and watch it.
So we have one no recommend, one kind of recommend, and one definitely recommend.
It's a
So
neat.
I'd say you'd have a much more entertaining time watching Splatter.
No.
No.
Yes.
I hate you so much for that. The splatter is terrible.
Splatter is a masterpiece, and Corey Feldman deserves an Oscar for that acting.
I would much rather watch Small Soldiers.
I would love for him
Mark,
to...
what's your question of the podcast?
Hang on. I'm just saying, I would love for Joe Dante to get on stage and call out Corey Feldman. I bequeath you this Oscar award.
Oh my god. Jesus.
That would be the weirdest alternate timeline ever.
Oh god.
Can we make this happen,
No.
please?
I don't want to visit that parallel
Has
universe.
Joe Dante even made a movie that's been nominated for an Oscar? Yes, he actually made a movie that won an Oscar.
Was it Gremlins?
No,
Gremlins 2?
Inner Space. It won for visual effects. It beat Predator.
Huh?
Oh, well, they're wrong.
There's a fire, and you can only save one Joe Dante movie. You can only bring one Joe Dante movie out of the burning house. Which one do you grab?
Splatter.
That's fine. That's your answer. Brendan? I think I might have really...
I'm really torn between Gremlins 2 and Matinee.
Remember, it's a fireman. You don't got time to think.
Matinee.
Thank you.
Because if Gremlins gets burned up, Gremlins 2 loses some context. Whereas Matinee, you don't need that first movie's context.
I would say realistically, Matinee is probably the best movie in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm still between Matinee and Gremlins 2.
I would probably grab Gremlins 1. It's just because that movie means a lot to me. From a nostalgia purpose, and then also from just a movie that I happen to love a lot.
Have you not seen Splatter, though?
I watched it with you, you idiot. I sat here and watched that horrible piece of shit with you.
Oh, my God. You just don't understand the
Zach,
artistic
you are
vision.
more obsessed with Splatter than Mark is with society.
I think we're all obsessed with society on a very deep subconscious level, but that's besides the point.
It's permanently embedded itself like a tick into our subconscious, which is another scary thought all unto itself. But I'm gonna go with what wow, I feel really bad now.
Gremlins?
No. Hold on. Keep talking. Gremlins is awesome. It's definitely a...
Small Soldiers?
No, Small Soldiers is great. It's actually about Splatter.
I have no idea where
I'm sorry. Now I remember. And my feeling about Splatter is probably what Lee said. Lee said said it the best. He's like, It's a half-an-hour movie with Corey Feldman, directed by Joe Dante. Do not think I'm not going to watch that. Just to see the clusterfuck that it is. So that's my overarching opinion about that movie.
You forgot to mention Tony Todd is also
And Tony
in it.
Todd, who was probably held by gunpoint to sign the contract to be in that movie. And that's a movie I would just let burn in the fire. I would just let it go. And the Howling, I certainly wouldn't go out of my way to go save. But
I would. I
know you would.
Even though it's, I don't know. I am curious to know how you guys would have felt about it if you had seen it like in the 80s when it was first released with a lot of other people. Because it is considered like one of the 1980s horror movies. So it would be interesting to live back then and see what kind of impact it actually had when it first came out.
Maybe so. I mean, what year was it?
81.
81? What year was Nightmare on Elm Street?
84.
Well,
Friday the 13th was also 81, if I remember correctly.
Friday the 13th was 80.
80?
Part 2 was 81.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So, there was already things that were more graphic.
Yeah.
And more horror-esque.
Which the first Friday the 13th really wasn't that graphic.
I mean, it kind of is, though. I mean, you have...
Compared to other things that day,
Compared to
yes.
other
Oh, yeah, no, for sure. Like, there's a couple, like... Yeah, I guess...
I mean, you get a full beheading, you get a spear, or... Was it a spear?
It was
spear.
an arrow.
An arrow?
An arrow.
Yeah, an arrow through
Kevin
Kevin Bacon's neck, and a couple other things. But, I mean, yeah, that one was absolutely one of the more graphic ones for its time. You, of course, have Texas Chainsaw.
That was 74. That was
I'm just
almost
saying.
a full decade.
I know, but I'm just saying it's not like gore wasn't a thing.
Which, the original Texas Chainsaw, not that violent either. Like, really,
I would say comparative. I'm just saying
really
comparatively
look at
to
that movie.
I'm just saying compared to the Howling.
Because Hooper was trying to make it a PG movie.
Keyword trying.
When you really look at the shots in that movie, it is not graphic. It's barely graphic, if at all.
It's a lot of, like, theater of the mind.
It makes you feel like you're seeing a lot more than you actually are.
It's theater of the mind, the psycho reaction. Like, when what's her face, Jamie Lee's mom,
Janet Leigh,
thank you, is getting murdered in the fucking tub. You swear you saw that knife go in. And honestly, there's only one frame of a kind of nick going in. It's a shitty effect. But, like, you swear that knife went in, but you didn't see shit. You saw a lot of very, very good cuts. And it's, again, theater of the mind. You connected through. And it's probably no different from Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But again, nobody ever thought about cannibalism back then.
And I'd say the scares of Texas Chainsaw come way more from what that family is than anything you actually see.
The family of inbred redneck cannibals. It's good stuff. It's solid family unit right there.
Which this conversation should be an excuse just to watch the original Texas Chainsaw again.
What it is an excuse to do is make the video for you explaining the timeline.
Just get the cork board. Wait a minute.
I looked at the prices for cork boards. I am actually.
Joe Dante did the Burbs?
Yeah.
Oh.
I fucking love it. Actually, I'm sorry. I think I might love that movie more than I love Gremlins.
And we changed Mark's mind. That's why I'm just like, hold on a second.
I fucking love that movie. And that's the first time he met Corey Feldman, so there is that. When's the last time you saw that movie?
College.
3 or 4 years ago,
That's
maybe?
definitely a movie worth watching again. It is a fantastic movie.
Yeah, Corey Feldman is in it.
And Carrie Fisher.
Yeah, I know. That's...
His episode of Masters of Horror is worth watching.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's called Homecoming. Basically, it's about dead soldiers who come back as zombies and want a chance to vote.
Okay.
And it's kind of funny because, since they got killed during the war, they're now like really anti-war, but the Republicans are trying to keep them from voting.
That's hilarious. Oh my god.
Well, shit.
I'm definitely gonna go with the Burbs for my pick.
I do want to check out Erie, Indiana, which was a kids show. He directed 5 episodes of that.
Of a kid show called Erie, Indiana.
Yeah.
Interesting.
He's recently directed something called Nightmare Cinema.
That was an anthology. He did one segment. I would say his segment in that was the best. Unless you knew he was directing it, you wouldn't know he directed it. So it doesn't really have that Joe Dante flavor to it. But it was the best segment, and the ending does kind of fall flat. But it was Nightmare Cinema is a worthwhile movie. Some stories are better than others, but yeah, his segment and the first segment of, which is sort of like a slasher turned on its head, those two segments in particular are worth watching. The rest I can kind of take or leave, but yeah, just for those two stories, I'd say it's worth watching. Amazon Women on the Moon is getting a Blu-ray pretty soon, so I can't wait for that, which he directed that along with like 4 other people, and that's sort of like what Kentucky Fried Movie was, where it's just like a whole bunch of different comedy sketches based around like old horror movies and sci-fi movies.
Sounds random as all hell.
It is, and they actually do a spoof of The Invisible Man, where it's like The Invisible Man's son or something like that, and it stars Ed Begley Jr. and he brings this guy to his lab and he's like, "Watch, I am invisible," and he takes off his bandages, but he's still there. And his lab is like the floor above where this bar is. And so when he comes down, he's like completely naked, thinks he's invisible. And when they hear him coming down the stairs, the bartender's just like, he's coming back down again. You know what to do. So everybody just kind of goes along with it, pretending he's invisible when he really isn't.
Well, that's interesting.
That sounds depressing, but okay.
It's funny.
Okay.
Yeah, he directed 2 episodes of Amazing Stories, an episode of the 80s Twilight Zone, Explorers, which I've actually never seen that one, which that starred a young Ethan Hawke.
The Hawk of Ethan's.
And his segment in the Twilight Zone movie was pretty good.
Is it though?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was based off of It's a Good Life, which is the same Twilight Zone episode that the Bart Simpson turning Homer into a Jack in the Box thing was based on. But yeah, he takes a more Looney Tunes-ish route than an outright, this is terrifying route.
But that is Joe Dante.
Yeah, but he did a good job with it. Which actually, his segment of that does have Nancy Cartwright in it, who does the voice of Bart Simpson. So that's a nice little full circle moment. Mark, you look like you're lost in your phone there.
No. I was just looking at Joe Dante's filmography just for a moment. Wanted to see if there's anything I missed, but no, we pretty much covered everything.
Yeah. And he also runs the Trailers from Hell channel on YouTube now.
Nice.
And he also has a podcast that he does with Josh Olson, who's the screenwriter of History of Violence, called The Movies That Made Me, where they interview different people about the movies that have influenced them.
The movies that made me.
Nice.
It's a really good podcast. It's one of my favorites.
Definitely check that out. But yeah, the Howling though, overall, good for a Sunday matinee. But that's about it for me.
For now.
For now. Apparently for now. But
it will be interesting. A year from now, I want you to rewatch it, and let's see if it actually got better or worse for you.
You know what? I'll tell you what. We'll revisit it.
Only if he watches Chud too.
Oh God. Brandon looks so sad right now.
Looks like he's now reconsidering his thoughts. He's like, I do not want to watch that fucking movie.
Every life choice is being examined now.
If you really don't want Brandon to do something, say you'll force him to watch Chud 2.
It's like every decision that Brandon's ever made to lead up to this moment, right in time and space.
It's literally the most torturous thing you could ever do to him.
You know what, man? I can't think of another human being that hates the movie more than Brandon hates Chud 2.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Not that I've seen.
Have you met me or Justin?
There's that.
Both of those guys hate pretty much everything. Have you not listened to Zach's comments on this episode?
Have you not listened to me on A24? Speaking of which, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you about
Zack.
Oh.
You know the rules.
Oh.
And honestly, when he starts getting on A24, I kind of just black out. So,
Fuck you!
Well, so do I, but I really don't feel like losing 20 minutes of my life, so I'd rather just stop it before
20
it
minutes?
if I'm lucky.
Yeah, I think 20 minutes is a very lucky stroke.
That rant can go on for a long time, and it's only going to get longer as they keep releasing shitty movies.
You know what, man? One of these days, you know what? I think one of these days we're just gonna host a podcast, and I'm gonna make a deal with you right now, and I'm gonna record it right now. We're gonna do a podcast on A24 horror movies.
Oh, no.
God, why?
No. And we're going to let you go balls to the wall on all of them, and then it's done, and then it's over with. Then you can never bring it up ever again.
I'm going to veto this on the account of I don't want to sit through The Witch or It Comes at Night again.
You have The Witch, you have It Comes at Night, you have Midsummer, you have
don't
the
feel
fucking
like-
Ghost Story, you have...
Sorry. You've already seen those movies already, so I'm sure.
Like, the only one worth anything is The Lighthouse, and even that one I still have some serious critiques on.
That's a horror movie?
It is considered horror.
Oh, Jesus
I
Christ.
personally don't, but a lot of people do.
It's literally just Robert... What the hell is his name?
Robert Pattinson.
Robert
Willem Dafoe.
Pattinson and Green Goblin. Willem Dafoe staring in front of a fucking camera for an hour and a half.
I'm doing this because we have an exorcism.
You realize this is going to be an exorcism that's never going to work.
Like most exorcisms, you just gotta give it a shot. And hope the girl doesn't die.
I'm sure the Vatican is very proud of you right now.
The Vatican hasn't let me back in.
Oh, that means we would also have to watch Hereditary. I'm not doing that.
I think a little part of Marcus just died right now.
Can hear him 6 blocks away.
Like, the only two, other than I can sit through The Lighthouse. The only other two I'm seeing that I could stand are Tusk and Green Room.
Tusk was so fucking boring. Nothing happened.
Which is your general opinion of A24 in general?
It's because nothing ever happens.
Again, we're talking about before the discerning.
I still don't understand how Ex Machina is an A24 film. It makes no sense. The movie's good. There's visual effects that are mind-blowingly amazing. There's a fucking story. I didn't know A24 knew what a story was.
All right, Zach. That's for a podcast for another day.
I'm sure that was more Alex Garland than A24.
Fair enough.
I'll be behind that. I'll definitely be behind that. But that being said,
Yeah, let's end this on a Joe Dante Howling note. I liked it.
I'm okay with it.
Squirrels.
All right, so
Well, that ends that then.
Watch The Howling. Maybe you'll like it. Maybe you won't.
Fuck if I know.
What the fuck do we know?
Yeah,
That's what this whole hour podcast is coming into.
an hour and
You're gonna be one of
Maybe
three
you like
people.
it, maybe you won't. Who the fuck are we to tell you?
You watched this because you wanted answers and you didn't get shit.
You literally got the Neapolitan of fucking answers. Like you went from yeah, it sucked to yeah, go see it. Is it worth watching? Your guess is as good as ours.
we could not agree.
Nobody agreed on this podcast.
I think this might be the first time that we had
Mark, this much of a split.
Yeah,
Mark was the
this
milk
much of a
toast fence sitter on this one.
Very much so. Very much so.
I don't know. Maybe next time we should do a Joe Dante we all like Gremlins 2 or Matinee.
Matinee. Matinee is such a good movie.
I still have to see Matinee.
It's a really good
I
movie.
still have to see it.
I thought I showed it to you.
No. You guys show me Gremlins 2, which I absolutely
With
adored.
John Goodman opening up a movie.
I think we
during the
watched that
Cuban-
with Marcus. That might be why.
Oh, was it Marcus?
It might have been Marcus.
Okay.
Because I know the first time we all watched it, it was me, you, and Justin.
Yes.
Second time, I think it was with Marcus.
And I know we watched it with Marcus.
So yeah.
So really, we have not shown you Matinee yet.
Yep, gotta show me Matinee.
All right, we're going to show you Matinee one of these days.
Yes. Besides my dumbass splatter jokes, that is my personal favorite film of his.
That's
Like,
fantastic.
Matinee is a really good, fun movie.
And it's neck and neck with Matinee and Gremlins 2 for me for completely different reasons.
Well, Gremlins is just like, hey, Joe, here's infinite amounts of money. Go make a movie.
We want a sequel. Just do whatever you want. Just make it a Gremlins sequel.
Are you sure you want this? You know what you're at? Yes. And then they finally get the budget. So, Joe, what are you doing? We're filling that entire building up with cement. What?
That was the one thing. That was the one thing.
Everything that happens in that movie, that is the thing where they said no.
Yeah, no, Joe, no. We're gonna have to say no.
Joe, this movie has already cost us the entire fucking company. We can't allow that. I don't think we're gonna make this money back. No, you'll make your money back. Joe, no, fuck.
Telling the fucking city cops, if you see a fucking cement truck go between 3 blocks of that fucking film set, you stop that goddamn truck.
God, how much fucking concrete would it take to fill that? Whoa, man.
Some accountant somewhere still having fucking night terrors from thinking about how much money that was gonna cost. Fucking wake up in the middle of the night, cement!
Sweating profusely. Babe, what the hell's wrong? Nothing. Just a special effect gone wrong. Holy fuck.
I had another Gremlins 2 nightmare. Baby, that movie came out 30 years ago. Get over it.
30 years. 30 years for you. For me, it's every fucking night.
$50 million budget.
Jesus. In what year was that? This was
90.
Jesus.
Yeah, 50 million back then versus now. Big fucking
And then
difference.
Gremlins in 1984 was 11 million.
Wow. Wow, did he fucking expand that budget like a motherfucker.
It's like you're literally giving a kid keys to the candy store. Like, hello.
And then the Howling was 1 million.
Wow.
Hey, we know where the budget went. Those fucking wolf effects looked really good.
All right. So let's actually wrap this up. Let's do a quick actual final thought, Brandon.
Yeah, I really like it. I think it's Joe Dante's most atmospheric piece. It has really good werewolf special effects. I do like the characters. I really like the ending. I really like the beginning. I really like the setting. It's just a very enjoyable movie for me, and it does get better for me each time I watch it. So it will be curious to see what Mark thinks about it a year from now.
And I am lukewarm about it. I think it had some pretty great effects, but for the most part, there was definitely some holes in the story, and it didn't feel to me like it committed in one direction or the other. And I wish it would have, because I think it would have probably been more invested in what was going on. Decent characters, pretty damn good special effects. The transformation effects were pretty good. Again, I would have liked more of a commitment in any given direction.
Did you know a blind squirrel is right twice a day?
That's your final thought? Mm-hmm. Is that what you're going with?
Yep.
Okay. Brandon, where can they find us to listen to these podcasts? And to not know how we feel about the Howling? Or to not get a proper recommendation of fucking Howling?
Well, if you want to hear our opinions on other movies and some various filmmaking tips and whatnot, you can listen to our other Nightmares podcast episodes on Spotify and Anchor. You can also find us at Midwest Horror Network on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram, and
Slasher.
So please give us a like, share, and subscribe. And of course, we do have a open donation form on Anchor and Anchor. All of your proceeds go directly to all of the wonderful works that we do. And of course, please like, share, and subscribe. Tell your aunts, brothers, sisters, best friends, and check out our narrative series, Living Nightmares, based on real life experiences. We have 3 episodes up now, and we have a 4th episode filming in August or September.
Hopefully.
That was very confident, Zach. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll check you all later. Bye.